The movie tells the story of Anna Leon Owens, a widow who comes to Siam with her young son Louis to take up a position as a teacher in the court of King Mongkut. Her task is to teach as many children English and Western studies, and to introduce them to the culture and customs of the West. Anne is an educated, determined and independent woman, raised in the spirit of English tradition, and this immediately sets her apart from the king's entourage, which is dominated by the strict and unyielding traditions of the East. Anna faces many difficulties upon her arrival in Siam. First of all, she feels like a stranger in this country, which seems to her full of mysteries and dangers. Secondly, the palace intrigues, unfamiliar customs and strict rules of behavior make her stay in Siam even more difficult. However, despite all the difficulties, Anna decides to stay and fulfill her duties. She comes into conflict with the king, demanding that she and her son be given the promised house outside the palace, but King Mongkut, who has his own plans for her, insists that she live at court within the palace walls. Their relationship is strained from the start. King Mongkut is a man of strong character, a polygamist and a strict ruler who jealously guards the traditions of his people. He expects Anna to obey his will like everyone else, but Anna turns out not to be what he thought. She is not afraid to speak her mind and sometimes argues with the king, which surprises him and makes him interested in her at the same time. She is faced with rigid traditions where the king has absolute power over all aspects of his subjects' lives. First of all, she finds it difficult to accept the treatment of women at court, which she finds unfair and humiliating. One of these women is Tutap, a young girl who is married to an old and rich courtier even though she is in love with another man. Tutap's fate becomes one of the key themes of the movie. As Anna watches the tragedy of this woman, she realizes more and more how different their cultures are and how hard it is for women in Siam. She tries to help Tutap, but her attempts are doomed to failure as the traditions and laws of Siam are stronger. Tutap's tragedy touches Anna deeply and makes her realize that her European ideas of justice and freedom do not always apply in this country. Despite their differences, Anna and the king gradually begin to understand each other. Anna helps the king learn more about the world outside of Siam, about Western culture and politics. She teaches his children, and a deep affection develops between her and her students. This is especially evident in her relationship with Prince Chulalongkorn, the king's eldest son, who sees Anna not only as a teacher but also as a role model. Gradually, Anna begins to realize that Siam is not just an exotic country with cruel laws, but a lively and complex world with its own problems and its own ways of solving them. Over time, Anna and the king develop a mutual respect, which gradually grows into deeper feelings. However, their relationship remains complicated due to their different backgrounds and cultures. King Mongkut, despite his power and authority, is a man who has to deal with political threats from outside and internal intrigue. He realizes that in order to maintain Siam's independence, he needs to reform and modernize the country so that it can resist the colonial ambitions of the Western powers. In this regard, Anna's advice and knowledge prove to be very valuable to him. Their relationship culminates in an attempted coup organized by one of the nobles, who is dissatisfied with Anne's influence and the king's reformist designs. The conspirators plan to assassinate the king and place his younger brother, who is more loyal to the old traditions, on the throne. Anne and the king are drawn into a dangerous game where not only their lives but the fate of the whole country is at stake. In this crisis, Anne shows courage and determination, and the king shows that he is willing to make sacrifices for the well-being of his people. As a result, a coup is averted, but this event further strains the relationship between Anne and the king. Despite their personal feelings, they realize that their paths will inevitably part. Anna realizes that she cannot fully embrace Siamese traditions, and the king realizes that Anna will never be a part of his world. Their relationship remains on the edge of friendship and love, but they both realize that it is impossible for them to be together. The movie ends with Anna deciding to leave Siam. The king realizes her decision and does not try to hold her back, even though it is not easy for him. He thanks her for all she has done for him and his country, recognizing that her influence has changed not only him but also the future of Siam. Anna leaves but leaves an indelible mark on the king and his children. The king continues to rule the country, introducing reforms that will help Siam maintain its independence and become more open to the world. His eldest son Chulalongkorn, raised under Anna's influence, would become the next king and introduce even more profound reforms, transforming Siam into a modern state. The story of Anna and the king is a story of two cultures clashing, two worldviews and two strong personalities who, despite their differences, were able to find common ground and influence each other. It shows that mutual respect and understanding can overcome any obstacle, and that even the most different people can learn from each other and become better.